But it's turned into our cross, so I don't know if its old power remains. Sugimoto didn't know her own power. If a stand was power manifested, perhaps it was the same as people not knowing their own strength. No, Cube House exists simultaneously, I said. She looked surprised, and I led her and Rohan into the study. First I checked the rug. It was still in place. I inspected the top of the desk as well. Nothing out of place. No one had gone in or out. Then I moved the desk away from the door. Hey, don't touch that. To a manga artist, a desk is like a chef's kitchen or a teacher's podium. It's not something anyone else should just feel to move around as they like. I ignored him. When I moved the rug aside and revealed the door, he shut up. Sugimoto looked just as surprised. So I went below this door earlier, and there was someone there. I don't suppose you know who? I asked. No. Okay, then I debated whether I should say anything, but decided I should. Worst case scenario, Tsukumajuku's murderer is hiding out inside here. Our working theory is that Rohan didn't notice the killer arranging the display of Tsukumajuku's body and escaping because he was asleep, I said. Rohan shook his head. That's your theory, not mine, he insisted. I cut him off, but it's possible Rohan didn't notice his escape because he hasn't escaped yet, because he's below this door. I see, Rohan said. So he made that locked room without my eyes and ears detecting a thing because he made this a temporary ray point? He carried everything he needed, including Tsukumajuku, down here ahead of time, and it began work once I left the study? Despite the events outside, Rohan sounded so calm it effortlessly dissipated all the tension I was trying to create. I certainly considered that, but I don't believe he would have had that much time to kill Tsukumajuku. After all, I met Tsukumajuku last night at 11:30 in Fuku in the town of Nishiakatsuki. No matter how fast he worked, I don't think he could have killed Tsukumajuku before dawn, or gone through all the steps he would have needed to plan this. But this isn't really the time to discuss it in detail. Rohan, do you have anything that would work as a weapon? Maybe a golf club? Can I borrow that? And a rope. I have some mountain climbing gear. I'll borrow that too. Just so you know, both were forced on me by my editors. They keep saying I should exercise more. I haven't touched them since. I don't care. Sorry, kinda in a hurry here. I stood back up and looked around for the hidden camera Murio Taisi would set up. There. It was hidden behind a plant in the corner of the room. As I was checking the camera, Rohan came back with a golf bag and a bundle of rope. Ah, that's my camera, he yelped. I had Murio Taisi set it to record in case anyone went in or out of this door, I said. I turned the desk so it straddled the door, tied the rope to the desk and opened the door, letting it fall into the room. Rohan peered into the space below and muttered, oh, this was under my feet this whole time? I dropped the rest of the rope through the door. George, Sugimoto said, going in there is dangerous. Cube House is meant for a single occupant. If 2 or more people run around inside, it could be very bad. Bad how? It could lead to contradictions. With floors and ceilings, the rooms inside turn to accommodate the people inside. Oh, I see. As long as you move horizontally from the study, nothing can go wrong, but... Right. If you go below the floor, or above the ceiling, the floor of the room next door is the wall of the room next to the study. So, how does the Cube House handle these contradictions? One of you will be pulled into a parallel universe. He'll be lost in that world and never get anywhere. That was hella scary. Has that happened before? Nope. When Cube House was Cube House, I was all alone in here. But I know. That's how it works with powers. You know things without having to test them, but there's still lots you don't know. You know? I wonder if the intruder I encountered had grokked to the danger of parallel worlds and run from me? I wasn't sure. But then if we go down now, isn't it still dangerous? Rohan asked, anxiously. Sugimoto smiled. Don't worry, Rohan. I'm the owner of Cube House. I'm the basis of its behaviour. I decide where the floors and ceiling and walls go. Good, but we had to hurry. Then let's go in, I said. I took a firm grip on the rope. Wait, Sugimoto said. Make sure you don't fall straight down. Oh. The door down there would catch your fall. But if you broke through the door and did that 3 times, it would be very bad. I looked up. The third door she mentioned was the door in the ceiling. The room below, the room below, the room below this one was the study. So if I broke through all 3, I'd fall forever. What would happen then? If gravity increased my fall speed here, I'd fall until I hit terminal velocity. Everything's so extreme and permanent, I muttered. It's the cube house, Sugimoto said. Can't be helped. True. This was a world of its own. All 3 of us made it safely down the rope to the room below. It was immediately obvious Sugimoto felt more at home down here in Cube House. She smiled more. Let's go find this rude interloper, she said. Should we really leave the door up there open? Rohan muttered, looking up at it. That giant insect monster steps on it. What'll happen? I guess we're on a pretty big hill. It probably won't try climbing up here. Don't worry, Rohan, she said. There's no way it could do anything to Cube House. I remembered Rohan saying that Cube House was moved here from Nishiakatsuki. If nobody could do anything to it, how could anyone have moved it? I don't know, Sugimoto shrugged. I sighed and raised the golf club, ready for anything. Hey, don't act like I'm supposed to know that. That's the very core of my being. Most humans couldn't tell you anything like that. Ask someone how they became what they are. Go on. She had a point, I admitted, as I lowered myself into the room below. Sugimoto and Rohan stayed in the room below the study, and I went down the room below that, opened the door in the floor, and made sure the room below that was empty. I was in the room below the study, which was also the room above the study. 3 centre doors were open, and if I fell through here and broke through the ceiling of the study, Sugimoto said that I'd fall forever. Anyone there? Nope. Then come back up. Easier said than done. But with a little effort I managed to scramble back up to the room where Rohan and Sugimoto were waiting, in the room beneath the study. Then we just have to check the 4 rooms around this one. Let's do that quick. I glanced over, and Sugimoto was watching the display on the video camera I'd brought with us. See anything? Nah. I can't hear the giant's footsteps anymore, Rohan said. Sugimoto laughed without taking her eyes off the display. Not in this house, no. Even the study is a room in Cube House now. No longer part of Arrow Cross. I sure bought one hell of a house. I opened the door to the east. Nobody inside. Okay, then I'm going round to the right, I said. Rohan nodded and tightened his grip on his golf club. Okay, George, when you open it, don't do it slowly. Just slam the thing open like the cops do in movies. The way you're opening doors is more like a horror movie and it's making me nervous. Sure thing. I went in a circle around Sugimoto and the camera, opening doors. Bang! Nobody in the north room. Bang! Nobody in the west room. Last one. At this speed, there's no way he could get out in time. I'd saved the south door for last, for good reason. This was the door I'd sensed the intruder's presence behind, and if he was still down here, he'd be behind this door. My palms were sweating, knees weak, arms spaghetti, but I couldn't put it off any longer. I put my hand on the doorknob and glanced at Rohan. He nodded, but before I could open the door, Sugimoto shrieked and staggered backwards 3 steps, staring at the camera in her hand. What is it? Rohan said, moving over to her. But I still had to check behind this door. Bang! Empty. Good. What does this mean, Rohan? Sugimoto said, her voice trembling. I ran over, looked at the screen, and my jaw dropped as far as Rohan's had. On the screen was Sukumajuku. He climbed up the rope to the study, closed the door, put the rug back, straightened the desk he'd knocked over, put everything on the desk exactly back where it'd been so nobody could possibly tell anyone had come through the door, and then Sukumajuku, who was very clearly alive, looked right at the camera and walked towards it. We could hear his footsteps on the carpet, and a thundering crash from outside. It was the sound of Nero Island crashing through the Morio barrier. On screen, Sukumajuku looked up, alarmed. That proved this video had been made a few minutes ago. Sukumajuku looked at the camera, staring right into the lens, and grinned. I guess my life belongs entirely to Jorge Joestar. To both Georges. Don't worry about it. In the words of Aisan sombra quoto. Life is an explosion. My life is exploding as we speak. See you again. And with that he vanished. We stared at it dumbly for a minute, unable to think, but I couldn't afford to not think all day, so I went outside instead. Take care, Rohan said, his mind elsewhere. Confused, Sugimoto looked up at me as I was clambering through the door. Do humans come back to life sometimes? She asked. Ha ha ha, I laughed, buoyed by the sudden possibility that Tsukumajuku might be alive. I wanted to talk to that strange boy one more time. I think some people just don't die that easily. Why was it I couldn't just trust that he'd come back to life? I pulled myself up into the study, left Cube House, closed the door behind me, left Arrow House through the west sunroom, and ran down the hill. Nero Island had clambered out of the harbour and was headed into the centre of Morio. The sheer weight of it definitely made it move slower on land. It took ages for it to simply lift one of those giant insect feet, and each step sank deep into the ground, so to pull one foot out, the other 5 had to dig in, which made them sink deeper and threw the entire island's balance off. Somehow it managed not to fall over, and precariously moved its foot forward, smashing buildings as that foot sank into the ground again. As rickety as the island's movement was, I still couldn't even begin to catch up with it. My legs were too short. I mean, they were normal lengths, and I was probably on the good side of athletic, but after experiencing the joy of riding Johanna around, my 2 legs felt like slugs. Blue Thunder couldn't be reloaned, apparently. It had vanished the second Rohan took it off, and there were obviously no taxis running. My feelings were getting ahead of me, and I could almost cry, but as I got further down the hill and reached the larger road and saw the stream of emergency vehicles headed for the destruction, the drivers' grips on their wheels, and people hanging off the fire trucks by their fingernails, to a man looking like their worlds were ending, I stopped caring about my speed at all. How many people could be kept safe on Nero Cross? Things were so bad now it might have been better if the people in the harbour had gone crazy too. I dashed down a dirt road through a field, looking up at the sky. It was almost 5, and the sun hung low in the west. With the barrier broken, the wind was blowing again. The humid, sticky sea breeze was making me sweat, but it was still an improvement. My feet felt lighter. A lot of baggage was slipping away. The sound of Nero Island's footsteps was getting closer. I turned my gaze forward and sped up. I was almost at the battlefield.